Under the Reagan administration, a new player emerged, JSOC, or the Joint Special Operations Command. JSOC was ostensibly created as a response to the failed 1980 hostage rescue attempt of American embassy personnel in Iran. It went on to conduct operations in Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and countless other nations.
The basic premise that I was saying is there's a unit known as the Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC. It's a separately independent unit that does not report to Congress, at least in the years I know about, and I spent, if people read a story I wrote last summer in the New Yorker, the Congress people are very upset, the senior leadership. It has been given executive authority by the president in as many as 12 countries to go in and kill, we're talking about high-value targets. That's absolutely correct.
Recently, it was revealed that JSOC has been training members of the MEK, an Israeli-backed terrorist group, on U.S. soil, at the very same time that MEK was cited on the State Department's own list of terrorist organizations.
If they're killing people that we like, it's not terrorism. By the way, we should add that the Brits and even the EU have basically moved away from that terrorism name because, again, they like having these guys. I mean, if somebody else can do the dirty work and you can make an absolute denial, as we have seen from the likes of our Secretary of State, who said, we are absolutely not involved in the assassination of these 5 scientists. And we have absolutely said it definitively. Isn't it nice to have an organization? I'm not suggesting this is the organization, but it's nice to have an organization that can do something so you can say, it wasn't me, it must have been somebody else. You know what I mean?
The United States now has 16 separate intelligence agencies, ranging from the ONI, the Office of Naval Intelligence, to the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. Admiral Dennis C. Blair, whom President Obama appointed Director of National Intelligence, disclosed in 2012 that the current annual budget for America's 16 intelligence agencies is a remarkable $75 billion. More than the entire military budgets of major powers, such as the UK, France, and Germany. It employs more than 200,000 operatives worldwide, many of whom are mercenaries.
Giving the intelligence community more money is like pouring gasoline onto a fire. It is a really bad idea. There's no oversight. There's no accountability. And therefore, they'll go on. I mean, General Hayden, who's now violated the Constitution twice, once with wireless wiretapping, the second time with torture and rendition. Hayden is on record as saying that any time he wanted to close down a program at NSA, the guy who would lose his status and his money and his program was the only one who could tell him about it. So no oversight has really created a monster. There are 16 intelligence agencies. It turns out that the State Department, which costs almost nothing, produces the most value with open source intelligence, with information that is not stolen and is legal and ethical. Then you have the CIA, which has a mishmash of analysis and a mishmash of clandestine collection. And then after that come the technical agencies. The National Security Agency, which does signals intelligence, including warrantless wiretapping, and some other elements. And the long and the short of it is that we're spending $60 to $75 billion, of which CIA spends no more than $6 billion. And we're spending it on things that don't work. Lockheed will spend $100 million of the taxpayers' money on a satellite, and it'll self-destruct on the launch pad, and Lockheed will be given a contract to build another one. I mean, this is nuts. Policymakers are so stupid they would rather a secret picture than an intelligent human analysis. And so the whole system is rotten. The next president can safely cut the secret budget by 80% and move that money into education and open sources and do vastly better, not just for America, but for the rest of the world to whom that information can be given for free in sense-made form. So right now our government is completely out of touch with reality, and it's the Keystone Cops on steroids and armed. Okay? I mean, we're really in deep, deep trouble here. Have a nice day.
Rumsfeld promised change, but the next day, the world changed. And in the rush to fund the war on terrorism, the war on waste seems to have been forgotten.
My '03 budget calls for more than $48 billion in new defense spending.
More money for the Pentagon when its own auditors admit the military cannot account for 25% of what it already spends.
According to some estimates, we cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
$2.3 trillion with a T. That's $8,000 for every man, woman, and child in America. 20 years ago, Pentagon employee Franklin C. Spinney made headlines exposing what he calls the accounting games. He's still there, and although he does not speak for the Pentagon, he believes the problem has gotten worse.
Those numbers are pie in the sky. The books are cooked routinely year after year after year.
Retired Vice Admiral Jack Shanahan commanded the Navy's Second Fleet the first time Donald Rumsfeld served as Defense Secretary.
With good financial oversight, we could find $48 billion if it was changed in that building without having to hit the taxpayer.
In the 2.5 minutes since this report began, the Pentagon has spent nearly $2 million, and it may never know where 25% of those tax dollars went.
When it comes to waste by a particular agency, few can rival the NSA, or National Security Agency. Its headquarters, nicknamed Crypto City, employs over 40,000 people, more than the CIA and FBI combined. As documented by journalist James Bamford, it encompasses 525 acres, with floor space totaling more than 7 million square feet. Its yearly consumption of electricity is 409 million kilowatt hours, equaling Maryland's capital, Annapolis. It has its own film festival, yacht club, and ski club, with yearly trips to Austria and Switzerland. Its budget for 1995 to 1999 totaled $17,570,600,000. Apparently, not even this was enough. In 2012, Wired magazine reported that the NSA was building an even more gargantuan complex in Utah. A former NSA official, quoted in the article, claims that the United States is now a hair's breadth from becoming a turnkey totalitarian state. Though the official mandate of the NSA is to eavesdrop on foreign communications, we now know that it has long been pointing its instruments inward. In the Philippines, circa 1950, CIA Psy-War operative Ed Lansdale employed a technique known as the Eye of God. At night, operatives would paint an eye on the wall of a house facing a suspected communist or communist sympathizer. The message: we are watching you. In some respects, the NSA's well-publicized spying on American citizens has the same effect. In the late 18th century, an English social theorist named Jeremy Bentham designed a prison known as the Panopticon. It was a circular structure with a central command center built so that prisoners would never know if they were being watched. French philosopher Michel Foucault stated that the goal was to induce in the inmate a state of conscious and permanent visibility that assures the automatic functioning of power. Regardless of intent, NSA agents can only analyze a tiny portion of the information they intercept. Yet, the very fact that they have claimed the right to spy on American citizens is a gross violation of their mandate. Similarly, the CIA, which is prohibited from conducting internal security functions within the United States, has repeatedly broken its own rules. Under Operation Chaos, the agency spied on leftists during the Civil Rights era. Under MKUltra, they used thousands of American citizens as human guinea pigs. During Operation Mockingbird, they illegally propagandized the American public.
Do you have any people being paid by the CIA who are contributing to a major circulation American journal? We do have people who submit pieces to two American journals. Do you have any people paid by the CIA who are working for television networks? This, I think, gets into the kind of getting into the details, Mr. Chairman, that I'd like to get into in executive session.
It is a great honor to be here with the men and women of the CIA. I've been eager to come out here to Langley for some time so I can deliver a simple message to you in person on behalf of the American people. Thank you. Thank you for all the work that you do to protect the American people and the freedom that we all cherish.
Today, it is widely accepted that secret organizations with extraordinary special powers are necessary for stability, for democracy, and for defense against foreign enemies. Yet this viewpoint has not always been the dominant one. In A Modern History of England, published in the 19th century, its author notes, "Nothing is more revolting to Englishmen than the espionage which forms parts of the administrative system of continental despotisms. The freedom of a country may be measured by its immunity from this baleful agency." Similarly, in 1798, a congressman colorfully warned that if a system of espionage is established, the country will swarm with informers, spies, and all the odious reptile tribe that breed in the sunshine of despotic power. If the corporatocracy has become the de facto emperor of the United States, the shadow government has become its elite guard. In the late 1980s, CIA whistleblower John Stockwell compared the military intelligence complex to the praetors of ancient Rome. The praetors came to exercise great power, Stockwell wrote, making and unmaking emperors and allowing political and military action outside of the law. What rules that were observed were announced by the issuance of edicts. The Guard was characterized by corruption and political venality and was closed down by Constantine in 312 AD. 353 years earlier, Julius Caesar crossed the river Rubicon